Hiya, my name is Jess and welcome to my channel, Have a Book at This. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I'm super excited about, and that is the Hamilton book tag. This tag was created by Maureen Keevy and I will link her original video below, and I was actually not tagged, but I'm going to do it anyway because, you know, I'm just a rebellious sort of girl like that. And I also absolutely adore Hamilton, which is partially why. For those of you who want a brief synopsis, Hamilton is a musical and it follows the life of one of America's founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton, as he introduces a lot of new important things into the Constitution. Like, he helps find banks in America, essentially, and it sounds really boring, but it's not. It's amazing, and part of the reason it's amazing is because pretty much the entire soundtrack is like hip-hop blend of that sort of old-fashioned time setting and style, and the fresh new hip-hop music is just, it's amazing, and it makes something that's completely addictive. What Maureen has done with this tag essentially is she's taken songs from the musical and matched book-related questions to each song. So let's just get right in there with the first one. That was The Room Where It Happens, and the question to go along with it is, what book world would you put yourself in? For me, this one was pretty much a no-brainer. Hogwarts. It's just, I want to be in Harry Potter, I want to drink butterbeer, and I want to play Quidditch, and I want to get a wand. I mean, I don't think I'd survive in the Harry Potter world. I wouldn't even get like a good death or anything. I'd probably just fall off on one of those like rotating staircases in the castle. Yeah, I'm really clumsy and I don't think Hogwarts and me would be a good match, but you know, for the short time that I would be able to live there and survive, I think I'd really enjoy it. That was the Schuyler Sisters, and for that one we have to talk about a female character who we feel is underrated. For that one I went for Liesl Memminger from The Book Thief. I just think that a lot of the time Liesl is just written off as kind of just like your token cute little girl character, but she is so much more than that. She's such an intelligent character and she's got so much integrity and bravery that I think is just really honourable. I love reading about her love of words, her journey to self-discovery, and I felt that a lot of her relationships that she had, whether it was with Max or Papa, she really influenced and shaped people, and I just feel like she's extremely underrated for being such a great role model, especially for younger girls. That was my shot, and for that one we have to talk about a character who goes after what they want and does not let anything stop them. And for this one I went for Kelsey Glynn from The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. Kelsey is a fierce character. I mean, if you think about it, she's how old? 18, 19 when this book opens, and she has to rule over an entire kingdom of which she has never had any experience with before, and she is just so fierce and brave and intelligent and political, and I absolutely adored her, and I was a little bit terrified by her at some times, but you know, I loved her anyway. She was absolutely brilliant. I think she's a really great role model as well. And for Stay Alive we have to pick a character who we wish was still alive. This is quite a spoilery question, and for me it will contain spoilers for books by Louisa May Alcott, who's the author of like Little Women and that sort of thing. So if you don't want to be spoiled for her books, wait until I put this hand here down. Anyway, so the character that I wish was still alive is Beth from Little Women, and I know that seems like quite an out of the blue choice, but when I was like 11 years old and reading those books for the first time, her death devastated me. She was like the nicest fictional character I've ever read about, and she just dies, you know, she just dies. And I remember sitting there reading that and just like crying my eyes out because I couldn't understand why Louisa May Alcott, of all the March sisters, she couldn't have gone for Amy, she couldn't have gone for Meg, she had to go for like the nicest fictional person ever, and I'm still not over it. So that was Burn, and the question to go with that one is the most devastating end to a relationship you have ever read about. And this one contains spoilers for the Lunatic Chronicles by Melina Marchetta. If you haven't read those or don't want to be spoiled for the series, wait until I put this book down before pressing play again. So for me, the most devastating end to a relationship I've ever read about was Lucian and Phaedra in this book. They spend this entire book trying to rebuild the broken fragments of their relationship, and then right at the end, Phaedra has to go and ruin it by pretending to die. I mean, I understood why she did it, but just seeing Lucian's grief-filled reaction after all that time that they'd spent rebuilding the broken fragments of their relationship, it hit me so hard, and I just found it so devastating. I had to put the book down, I had to take a walk, just anything that I could think of to stop the tears from coming. So for You'll Be Back, we have to pick the sassiest villain, and for this one I've gone for Lady Catherine de Bourgh from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. She is one sassy villain. For those of you who haven't read Pride and Prejudice, Lady Catherine de Bourgh kind of reminds me of the character that Dame Maggie Smith plays on Downton Abbey. She's that sort of older woman, very manipulative within society, who just goes after everything with just so much sarcasm, and I hated and loved to hate her at the same time because she was just so dang sassy, is all I have to say about this villain. So for the Reynolds pamphlet, we have to talk about the biggest twist. And I'm not a big fan of talking about twists in specific books because I feel like it's kind of a spoiler in itself. So for this one I've gone for a general series, which is the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson's works are just full with constant twists, to be honest, and you never know what's going to happen to any of his characters. No character is ever safe, and that both terrifies and intrigues me with all of his books. So for non-stop, we have to talk about a series that we marathoned, and honestly I don't marathon series that often. I'm a bigger fan of standalones just because I like to spend like shorter periods of time in different universes rather than a longer period of time in kind of one crafted world. The last series I can remember marathoning is the Lunatic Chronicles by Melina Marchetta, which is a high fantasy young adult trilogy that doesn't read like young adults. I loved every second of it. This is very character driven. The kind of medieval European setting isn't like other medieval European settings I've read. It's more kind of like based in, I'd say maybe Italian kind of culture in a way. It's just got a multitude of really different and interesting characters of all ages and of all kind of moral standings, and it was absolutely excellent, and I loved marathoning this one. For number 9, Satisfied, the question is your favourite book with multiple point of views, and for this one I went for a really recent read of mine, which was All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This follows a young French girl called Marie-Laure and a German boy called Werner during the Second World War. What I really liked about this story was that you got to see two different sides of the war and two characters that had very different experiences of war. And it wasn't only Marie-Laure and Werner that populated this, you had other narrators as well, such as Marie-Laure's father, and it just made the world and the experience of living during this time come even more alive for me, I think, by having all of these different voices sharing their own experiences. But Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story, we have to talk about a book that we think will be remembered throughout history. And what other one could I have gone for other than Harry Potter? I couldn't be bothered to get the series out, hence the little representative figure right there. Harry Potter completely revolutionised children's literature, and it proved that children's literature can be enjoyed by people of all ages, and obviously people from the Harry Potter generation will read Harry Potter to their children, and hopefully their children will read it to their children, and that way Harry Potter will just undoubtedly become a classic for just ever. So Maureen also did a little list of bonus questions, and I picked one of those to do for you right now, and the one I chose was Helpless. list we have to talk about a couple that we were pulling for from the beginning, and for that one I've gone for Kath and Levi from Fangirl. I just absolutely loved the really fun and kind of quirky coming of age dynamic between these two, and it just really touched my heart. I felt something whenever they were together, and I was just going and like rooting for it like mad right from the beginning. So that was the Hamilton book tag. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon.